Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is another edition of everyone's favorite show, at least it's mine, LiveBetter, brought to you by the folks over at Wave.video. Super excited to have you here. It is the show where we come together every week to learn together how to live better. And I say that because I am along for the journey with you. Of course, we want to make sure that as you are with us here today, that you do, where is the magic button? I believe it's this one, that you do all the things. Subscribe to our channels, like us, follow us, click the bell, sign up for the emails. If you can click it, we want you to click it. That way we can stay in touch with you and let you know all of the cool things that are coming out and brand new at Wave.video. I'm excited to have you here today with us. We are playing around with the Stream Deck that we're now kind of integrating with the Wave Studio. But unlike a keyboard where I can do it with my eyes closed, I still don't know where all my buttons are. Like this one that says, hey, use the hashtag LiveBetter so that we know you're watching and you'll be entered into our weekly competition where you have a chance to win things like our Wave.video Yellow Chad LiveBetter coffee mug, or our stickers that also have the coveted Yellow Chad. Of course, when you get it, we want you to use the hashtag Yellow Chad and show us where you stuck me. It's always uncomfortable to say it, but I have to say it. So there you go. Super excited about our show today. We've got Joie Gharrity here with us. She has worked with companies like Disney, ABC, and more, and is a live streaming genius. And her topic today is actually kind of near and dear to my heart. You see, I'm an old theater guy. This is a picture of me playing Scrooge in Scrooge the Musical. And it's interesting, especially in community theater, that many people struggle when they first get on stage with doing a couple things. One is standing in the spotlight. And it's the light that was actually made for them to shine. And the other thing that they struggle with is opening up and turning and facing and making themselves vulnerable and open to those who have actually come to see what they're doing and hear what they have to say. In fact, it took me a while as well. And one of the things, though, I found over time is that there's two kinds of people who are really good at finding the spotlight and opening themselves up. One are those, I think we call them narcissists. They're all about them. They run to the light because they want to shine, and they do it because they want it for themselves. They open up to you to see what they can get from you. And then there's another kind of actor that runs to the light so that you can see them, so they can deliver to you what you came to receive. They're there for you. And that has always been my greatest experiences when I'm on stage, is when I have a moment where I realize, you know what? They got something. And when they get, I always, somewhat selfishly, I guess, I get as well. So that's somewhat of our topic today. We're going to be learning a little bit about how you can expand your influence using live streaming. And we're going to be doing it with Joie Gharrity. So I'll tell you what, why don't we just bring her in? Joie, how are you? How are you? How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is absolutely my pleasure to have you here with us. I've been looking forward to this. I know you've got tons of experience. You've done all kinds of incredible things. That was me lowering my chair because I realized I'm not completely in frame. I did it with grace, right? The big boom. But look, we've got questions. We've got all kinds of things that we're going to get to. But as I looked at your bio and looked at, trying to get to know a little bit more about you, one of the things obviously that stands out, and you put it there because it does stand out, is that you have done some work with ABC and with Disney, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How did that happen?
Oh, I've been in the business for a long time already, and Disney is kind of the ultimate studio you want to end up at. And so I went for it, and I had an incredible mentor over there. He wanted to start the first multimedia studio for the company. And so he hired me and 5 others. And so we did the first startup for them.
Wow. That had to be like an honor, but also perhaps a little bit of a kind of a pressure cooker kind of feel.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because we were thrown in the deep end of the pool, and that everything is very well funded over there. However, it still takes a lot of knowledge and insight. And what was really remarkable is that high level executives from some of the biggest platforms online had no problem flying down and meeting with us. So I learned a lot about the online world early on during that process. And that's when I made the decision that I was going to build my own influence. Before that, the way that studio or any job or big brand works out there is they're giving you their influence, right? So they're giving you
Sure.
$1 billion worth of influence. So you call from Coca-Cola, people are going to show up to a meeting, right? But my aha was sitting in these rooms with these young executives, and they continuously were reminding me and encouraging me that I needed to build my own influence outside of the brand itself. And online was that freedom flag that I had been looking for a long time.
Wow, that's incredible. We've got the live stream your brand here, by the way. It says, "Hi, pretty lady." I'm going to go ahead and just make the assumption that they are talking to you.
Hi, everyone.
I feel that that's a good guess. Now, I mentioned earlier that if people will use the hashtag LiveBetter, let us know that they are here, that they have a chance to win some cool things, our mugs, our stickers. But you actually have something special for them this week as far as a grand prize, correct?
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the
Sure.
grand prize winner is going to get?
Right. So I just dropped my second book, Being Your Own Superstar: How to Grow Your Love Capacity. And it's actually the real reason that I worked in Hollywood for 15 plus years is I was supposed to observe superstars and leaders in their field. And 3 years ago, I was at my friend's, a very close friend of mine's life celebration, and I was feeling quite blue and uninspired. And I asked that question that we've all asked several times in our lives, like, what's life all about? And within seconds, it was like a pure white light came over me, a pure love, and it connected a series of dots of memories of me working in Hollywood, one after another, which actually was the equation formula to the real secret sauce of how superstars and these leaders really got what they wanted in a big way. And I share this in the book because I was inspired to take action and to share this with the masses out there. One, to remind everyone that you are a superstar, that you don't need to ask for permission. You just stand in your greatness and you shine bright. But the other reason is that there's a daily habit system that I put in here that was based on my downloads. And it's actually not a typical system that you find elsewhere for your inner game. It starts with a series of prayers that I had custom made by a master prayer maker. And then it goes on from there. It's only 5 steps a morning. It only takes 30 minutes. But what it really is, it's like I was shown that by these observations that the reason that people that other people admire do so well, there is this like the lack of fear of rejection. That's one side of it. But what it really is they can take in mass amounts of love.
Mm.
And love is not taught to us, nor are we taught to take in massive amounts of love. And so this is the foundation of the book and my teachings and helping people get on the big screen of their lives.
Wow. I love that. I love that. By the way, Anita did clarify that it's her greeting you and not me.
I
So,
love you. Love you,
um,
love you, love you, Nita.
and Nancy, Joey's a neighbor, J.S. Gilbert, who's a fan of the show and a great friend. I love him to death. Also in San Francisco with you. And Nancy Hill, who joins us often, is a big Wave user, says that kind of what you're saying is resonating a little bit here with her. That what is life all about and my role in it. So we're gonna get into some of these questions and how we can use live streaming and all of the things that you bring to the table to grow your influence. But we just want to take a quick moment, just because we never know who's here who maybe hasn't seen all the cool things Wave.video can do. So we're gonna share something with you real quick. Take a look at what Wave.video has going on, and then we'll be back with Joie Gharrity. Wow. Impressive, if I do say so myself.
I love Wave.
Oh my goodness. And it just keeps getting better, folks. So half the time they don't even tell me. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I log in and I'm just blown away because they've added things that I didn't even realize they added, and it just gets better. So go to Wave.video today if you want. You can sign up, try it out for free. They've also done some crazy price reductions. If you're an affiliate holder and you have an affiliate link, by the way, I believe it's the rest of this month, or the dates are on the affiliate page. They're actually doing a 50% affiliate payout. And you also have the ability to offer a 10% discount to those of your friends who sign up using your affiliate. So we love our affiliates, we love our users, and we're just grateful for all of you. Okay, so let's just dive into this. We touched on it a little bit with Disney and different things, but when did you decide that live streaming was for you?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, right before the epidemic, like the COVID hit, I had a very close friend of mine come to me and she's like, "It's time for you to go to the next level. Let's get you on live stream." And I'll tell you, I was a little reluctant at first because we all can relate to this out there, right? Like we all need one more thing on our plate, right? Especially when you're running your own company. But she really encouraged me, and because of my Hollywood background, I took to it like a duck really quickly. I like what Wave is doing with all these bells and whistles and your own little studio and the interaction piece. And so I jumped in and I was very consistent. I literally did a show, actually did 2 shows. I did the Red Carpet Guide to Visibility and Influence, specifically for entrepreneurs, and I shared all my strategies and tips and tools, and I brought all these amazing guests on. And then I did a show called the Hollywood Spotlight Series. And I was just, pulling from my pool down in Hollywood and bringing people, directors and leaders in their field and bringing them on because I wanted the masses to see that there's absolutely no difference between everyone's journey. It's just some people just have a different purpose, right? And what happened with all that is my online influence grew so fast. It was incredible. And so I got really addicted to it.
Well,
I
I mean,
loved it.
there's worse things, I guess, to be addicted to, right?
The key, brother, is it's the consistency piece, right? And the other thing too is that I used a lot of my background, and so I do pre-marketing. I have a whole manual and system of how to take people through to make sure that they're getting the most out of their live stream. Right? Because the online influence, again, remember that story I shared with you? I'm in rooms with all these high-level executives of some of the biggest platforms, and they're like, you got to get your own influence. And this tool, by far, by none, has done the best for my influence to date.
Wow. By the way, let's see, I'm scrolling there. Real Estate Auctioneer School, and just let you know, they just ordered your first book, The Red Carpet Guide to Visibility
Oh,
and
cool.
influence. So, and there may be a little OCD there. They're like, I have to read the first book first.
Well, it really is level one. It's
Yeah.
the way I help people to get that visibility influence piece first. But what I realized when I had the download too, the reason that the second book was downloaded was because you can get people on the red carpet, but in order for them to sustain it, to go to superstar status in their field, right? That you got to get that inner game component. But more importantly, you got to be able to allow, receive, and accept mass amounts of love. Because money, cars, business opportunities, it's just love.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's something that we all struggle with, and I want to dive a little deeper into that. I think as we go, I think the conversation is going to lend it to that. But as far as the live streaming component, though, why do you think that live streaming is such a great tool for growing influence? Why is it? Why does it work?
Well, one of my major tips I share out there about growing your influence and the visibility piece is that you need to allow people to emotionally connect with you, right? You have to be, no one wants perfect. That's unattainable, first of all, but second of all, it's not great for sales, right? Because people don't feel like they can get close to you that way. Live stream, right, is really, in essence, and I'm predicting this, I just predicted it in Ross Brand's book, is that we will all become our own reality stars, right? And I know reality's got a bad rap out there, right? But I want people just to think about it in a little bit different light. Live stream is giving us an opportunity to become our own show, our own reality star in regards to there's something exciting about live, right? Technology isn't always going to be your best friend. We both know that. We both had shows go down on us in the middle of a show or a guest all of a sudden goes black, right? But that's what's exciting about live streaming,
It's
right?
funny. Our show last week, by the way, was about dealing with tech problems during the show. And as the guest started talking about cameras, my camera started like totally glitching. We couldn't have planned it better. Anyway.
And we just have to it helps us to be authentic. It helps us to sit in part of the reason we're down here is to fail, right? And failure is not a bad thing. Failure is a good thing, right? Live gives you an extra upper leveling your brand for people to emotionally connect with you first. Second of all, interact with you. And then third of all, see you in real time. Right? And as we are becoming our own channels, as we are becoming our own superstars, which is our birthright, right? Is that what I'm excited about live stream, and I know everyone in the game out there is excited about this too, is that we're going to be able to sell in real time. Okay. And so there's not going to be this lag between us talking about something and then us also being able to introduce people to be able to get it in real time. And this is so exciting because I also predict that anyone that wants to really, really be in the game, right, we will all have our own shops, our own channel, our own Bravo channel is the best way I can describe it.
Interesting. So what would you say then? What are some of the first steps that people should take to start trying to grow this influence?
Yeah, so I would say give yourself a break. A lot of people don't do live stream because they don't like the way they look. I hear this all the time, and I'm like, what? First of all, everyone's gorgeous inside and out. That's just,
Absolutely.
you are a child of the divine, right? Allow yourself to step into the spotlight. Allow yourself, because what it starts doing is it starts organically growing your love capacity, guys, and you will get more of what you want. What live stream has done for me is it's made me more comfortable in my skin. It's helped me to become more at ease, right? And to acknowledge that it's okay to be human. Like sometimes Some days I'm digging the way I'm looking, some days I'm not, but I still show up, right? And being consistent out there, but also too sharing your unique point of view with the marketplace. It's like, it's the biggest stage in the world. Why wouldn't you do that? So other people can have an aha, or they can know that they're not alone, or they can feel empowered.
Oh,
It's
absolutely. Wow. Guys, I know some of you, a real estate auctioneer obviously is a huge fan already. They bought the book. They may be reading it while they're watching right now. Also mentioned that they went to your Calendly link and it wasn't working. So just a heads up there so that
okay. Well, thank you. I will let my website guy know that as soon as we get off here.
Let's just jump into a couple of questions. Let's see from some of the people here. JS mentioned as far as like influence that he works with brands on advocacy marketing, and he's found a lot of issues with brands engaging influencers. Any words or wisdoms there?
Yeah. Well, listen, what's really interesting about all this, and the reason I jumped on to the online world 2 feet in the deep end of the pool, is because before that we had to ask permission in a way. And you had to ask Hollywood to be a star, right? We all knew that. But what I started realizing is like, oh, online is going to give us the ability to be our own star. That whatever that means, that doesn't have to mean People magazine covers. That doesn't have to mean that you have to be, whatever that means for you. Yeah. And what we also saw happening is that the influencer agencies down in Hollywood are starting to become the biggest agencies in the entertainment business.
Wow.
Not the other agencies necessarily. And that was very telling.
Wow, that's amazing. And there you go. The real estate auctioneer has now bought your other book as well. So
oh, he's a seeker. He's a reader. Good for you.
You should have held off on that second book. You might have won today. So I guess if he wins, he'll have a copy to.
I will. Next week I'm doing a huge mailer.
Oh, nice.
And so I'll be mailing out the book to whoever wins.
By the way, shout out to Ross Brand. You mentioned his book, which I believe is live today on Amazon. The 100 live streaming predictions. We're both in it. Yes. So that's super
well, that's
cool.
How we met is through Ross, right?
We met through Ross. So like, it's just like a whole Ross fest here for just the next couple minutes here. So Ross, we love you. And congrats on the book.
Congratulations, Ross.
And JS, thank you for reminding everyone, use the hashtag LiveBetter. We do appreciate that. I like Karina's statement here. It kind of cut it off here on the screen, so I'll just read the whole thing to you. It says, live streaming also allows your audience to know how you think better. Sometimes people have a different opinion about a person, and when they start communicating with them, even though live streaming, it can change opinions.
Yes. That's excellent. That's such a great share. It's such a great share. And the other great example of live streaming is I'm on this show today because I'm a live streamer, because I know Ross, because Ross knows other live streamers. I mean, it really is a domino impact out there of how much it can help, empower you and your brand, but grow your visibility and then influence. And influence at the end of the day is in direct alignment to your earning power. So if you want to do what better, grow your influence bigger.
Yeah, I love it. And people throw the word influencer and that and whatnot around. And guys, at the end of the day, we're all influencers. We all influence people.
Yes.
I always use the example of, the other day I was out for a walk and I saw a kid with a snow cone, and I thought, I want a snow cone. And so in that particular moment, that little kid was an influencer in my life. Now, you talked about, growing your influence and growing your, reaching more people and doing those things. And in the early days of live streaming, it seemed like that was a little bit easier to do. But then the pandemic happened and everyone went live and everyone learned how to go live and Zoom and do all these things and use all these tools. So how do you get views and grow your influence post-pandemic?
Okay, so two things. One is I have a quote out there that there's plenty of spotlight to go around. Okay, we don't get caught up in all that in Hollywood. If we got caught up in Warner Brothers was coming out of movies same time as we were and this kind of thing, we would never move forward, right?
Mm,
The other thing too is be consistent, but also too, make sure to thread in your unique point of view. And live stream is also about entertaining people. So I have a system I follow. I always open up with a story so I can emotionally connect with people out there, right? And then give real value. I never walk away from a show without giving a strategy, a tool, a tip, a resource, right? Be generous with your expertise, with your time, and with emotionally connecting with your audience out there. And they will come. They will come.
yeah, I agree. The consistency thing is an interesting point that you bring up too, because we first started, we had some viewers, and each week, the viewership goes up, it goes down, but we also are growing that core group. We're
Yeah.
getting more people who are here consistently, who support the show, and they share it with their friends, and I think that's an important component about the whole, being consistent, being having it episodic, I guess is the word, right?
Yeah. You know, the Being Your Own Superstar show this season is mostly just going to be solo for me because I'm doing a lot of teachings, a lot of training in it, and really want to get this message out to the masses so that they can get what they want. However, on a whole, I tend to bring on guests. And it's such a clever way, a strategic way of building your audience base because you're just going to get into bigger backyards that never heard about you because you're going to tag your guest. And I also do my shows in seasons. And so I do a season, right? And then I roll out the season and I do a strategy of mine out there. It's called the banana split. And so our real estate friend will read about this. It's in my first book. And it's actually went viral. And the way it works is the reason that movies do so well, especially particularly blockbusters, is because it takes 2 years of marketing just to get people in the theaters. And so what the studios do is they start spotlighting all these different people, not just the talent, but the special effects guy and the producers and the writers and the editors, right? And by doing that, your banana splitting is when I coined it, is because you're tagging all these people. And then for me, seasonal, I'm tagging everyone simultaneously. So imagine how many different backyards I'm getting into.
Mm,
Mhm,
absolutely.
mhm. It's like a
Yeah.
commercial, just like a commercial.
But you still have to then, once they come, you still have to have content. So how do you create content ideas that work?
Yeah, so the content that we share is all value-driven content, right? We're all about inspiration. Inspiration is great, but inspiration does not build empires, right? Tangibles do. And so myself and every guest that comes on is required to share 3 tangibles with the
Mm,
marketplace that people could implement right then. So if someone's a social media guru, they bring in 3 tangible social media tips that people can implement, right? If they're a self-publishing, if they're a publisher, they bring in 3 tips. And so this, I also believe, is a big reason why the shows did so well for me, is because people knew that when they tuned in, they were going to get value. Just like I just shared the banana split out there, and I just shared a tangible. I'm like, y'all, if you're doing live stream, do it in a series, right? Then do the announcement and then tag everyone, and you just created the 113 banana split. That's a tangible.
wow, that's brilliant, super clever, and I also want ice cream now. So there's that as well. Hey, folks, don't forget. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your questions. Let us know what questions you have for Joie Gharrity here. Two-time author, show host, worked with Disney, ABC. She's got the answers for you. So take advantage of it. And of course, if you do so, you're going to have a chance to win great things like, well, our stickers or our coffee mugs and one lucky winner today is going to be going away with Joey's new book. So that way you don't have to hold it up there. It's like worried that maybe I made it too big. I didn't want to cover your face. So that's happened before. Okay, so we go live. We're in the spotlight. We have good content. People are getting to know us. Now, the team comes up with a lot of questions for the show each week. And typically I'll tweak them. I'll summarize them, make them a little shorter. But I liked the verbiage of this one because apparently it also was striking a nerve with them as they wrote it. So they wanted to know the secrets of highlighting your personality and expressing the notorious but crucial authenticity.
Right. Well, take a deep breath, right? I mean, it's not easy being vulnerable. It's not. I mean, that's just being human, right? However, I had a really close friend of mine years ago come to me and she said, Joey, you're not relatable. And it really stung. I was like, what does she mean? And she's like, how are people supposed to relate with someone that has done what you did? Because probably 1% of the entire world's worked in Hollywood, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat with that, went to Golden Gate Park, my favorite park in the world. And I sat with that for the afternoon. And I really had a talk with myself. And so I made a decision that I was going to start sharing stories. I was going to start sharing my journey. I was going to start sharing my failures, what I learned from it, the lessons I learned from being around superstars, the lessons I learned from my brother's passing, from different things that had occurred for me. And this really helped me, first of all, to let down the red curtain, right? Just let people in. But what was remarkable about it, as scary as it was to share all that, is that it really did help to help me to heal on a deeper level. And then I had people reaching out to me and saying, thank you for sharing, because I thought I was alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
People don't talk about death. They don't talk about certain things. And this was a tipping moment for me. In the second book, the Being Your Own Superstar, How to Grow Your Love Capacity, there's one story in particular that I was very on the edge of a cliff and really reluctant to share because it's so very vulnerable, right? And it's called The Best Kept Secret. And I've been keeping the secret for many, many, many years. However, I talked with people that have been reading the book and I've asked them, of all the stories I shared, which one do you think is the most vulnerable? And do you know that not one of them brought that story up? Not one. And I'm like, what?
Interesting.
Right? Instead, they brought up my brother's death, or they brought up all these other stories.
It's funny how often we think like, okay, I'm about to share. I'm going to share this moment here for you, and they take away this other story that like you've shared. I've told everybody that story. That was the moment.
It was like I was like,
Yeah,
like, this is crazy, right? And so I share that with everyone out there. Because and by the way, this story it really made a huge impact on me. It's called The Best Kept Secret. It's coming up on my upcoming live show. I'm gonna actually read the chapter. It's about I was doing a meditation. My brother just passed away. I was, at very, very beyond blue, not really caring about life anymore. And I had Jesus come to me and then Mary another time. And this was actually the beginning of the love capacity journey. It's just like I'm sure everyone can relate with this, right? Our heroine's journey. And I was just like, nope, I'm not ready. So I just kept driving by the next sign, right? And until 3 years ago when I finally said yes. But the reason that I share that with everyone out there is because, the internet's changed the entire game anyways. There's probably not a story out there that you couldn't Google anyways at this point. So be vulnerable, share the journey, right? And more importantly, share what you learned through the failure, a tangible, what got you through the other side. And that way it can impact others.
Yeah, I think sometimes we take those stories too and we share them for the wrong reason, almost for like this sympathy gain instead of also sharing it for this is how I overcame it. This is how it changed me. This is how it made me better. And this is why now you can take this story and relate to it in a way. Maybe there's something you're struggling with and you can overcome as well. I'm not looking for the comment saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry, blah 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 blah." I'm trying to find a moment where I can let you know, hey, it's going to be okay for you too.
Right. And brother, after my brother passed away, I didn't know, no one told me that they were suffering, that they had gone through something similar. So you literally start thinking you're by yourself.
Right.
And there's nothing lonelier than being out there. And, and again, these are all these inner struggle that we go through. What was one of the remarkable blessings that came out of it is that it made me more empathetic.
Mm.
Right? It also made me more authentic, right? And it took me on a different path than I would have. Most likely, I would have stayed in Hollywood and just been grinding things out. And so, but leaving Hollywood wasn't an easy decision.
Sure.
It wasn't easy, right? It's all I knew. It was my entire adult life. I never did anything else. Oh, well, I did one other thing. I worked at Nordstrom's when I got out of college, I think for like 3 months or something. But I never worked anywhere else ever. And so that was just all I knew. And so it took years still for me to say yes to leaving. But when I did, I actually, that was really the real beginning of the purpose, right?
Mm.
It takes courage,
Oh, it
but
does.
it's worth it.
No, I agree 100%. Now, these messages, these moments, these stories, you're streaming, you've got to get them out there.
Yeah.
JS actually asked a question. It's actually also part of our next question as well, but he was specifically asking what social media you're embracing. And of course, ours was, is it better to do one best platform or are you a multi-streamer?
Oh no, I'm multi-streamer. I think I learned that in Hollywood too, right? So we understood that you had to cast a huge net, right? Because that net is going to just attract like-minded people that are sitting in different streams,
Hmm.
right? That are fishing in different streams. And so I know people are like, well, it's exhausting. And I'm like, well, what I tell people, I was like, don't exhaust yourself. Instead, embrace the experience of who are you supposed to connect with out there. I actually believe that the internet is more of a spiritual experience. That's what I believe. No one else has to believe that. That's just my belief system, right? My Starbucks down the street during COVID closed, and I was going there every morning after the gym, and I knew everyone, right? And that was a very important part of my day. And when that closed, it was just another reminder of how I approach social media like my main street of my town. And I like to go and say hi to everyone. And then I want to like and comment on things that have inspired me that day, that morning. I don't spend all day in there, right?
Sure.
But I do feel particularly with the shows, right? We all see what's streaming happening right now with the networks, right? And they know they can't just limit themselves just to the one channel. It's not going to work, right? So pick your platforms, right? Be consistent, do your show, make sure that there's a value tangible piece in it, right? And then throw out your net and then go along with your day.
Love it. We've got a guest also here says multi-streamer for the win, cast wide. Yes. So they agree with you on that as well. Folks, don't forget, keep commenting, ask your questions. We're going to be giving away some prizes here soon. And for those of you who are maybe curious, how are we working this magic? How is all of this wizardry happening? Well, I'll let you know. Everything that you see today is being done and streamed to various platforms using Wave.video, their new live streaming studio. And everything that you see in the show, every asset, overlay, background, all of it was created using Wave.video on the editor and creation side. So you can create all your video, all your assets, all your images, all your backdrops, all your everything, and then edit the show afterwards. So it is super, super cool. Huge fan. JS Gilbert, also a huge fan, as we can see there as well. Now, once you've got the show, you've got your platforms, people are starting to come in and watching. That's great. But how do you keep them? How do you really grow that loyal group of streamers after the stream is over?
Yeah, I would say become an amazing storyteller. You know, human beings crave that still, right? We were cavemen around the fire pit, you know, it's all the same. But you want to make sure that that the story is poignant to that topic share that day, right? I was taught by masters how to pitch. We call it pitching in Hollywood. I know people don't like to hear that in entrepreneur world, but that's what we call it. And so I was thrown into some really big rooms with major brands. And what I realized as I was failing at first and not walking out with the deal was that I was like, oh, I'm going to start every pitch with a story. And that's how I'm going to emotionally connect with these executives, right? And then I'm going to be like, hey, by the way, you can buy this, right? And so this is how I've approached my keynotes, my books, the live streaming, because people will always remember a story, right? And I tell people all the time that I don't care if you're selling rainwater. I've actually met someone in my life that literally sold rainwater, okay? And I was like, really? And yet they were selling it. And I'm like, and I was like, oh, so you're emotionally connecting somehow. It doesn't matter what you sell, right? And what matters is how are you letting people in through the storytelling first, right? And then you go into Act 2 and to Act 3. I've literally read thousands of scripts easily. When I first started out in my career, I was, they used to call you a script girl. And so, but as I rolled through my career, I mean, I've just read incredible amount of scripts. And so it taught me how to capture the audience on the front in Act 1, move people into an Act 2, which is, this is what I learned. And then in Act 3 is, this is how you can implement this tangible so that you too can ... And that should cross over into any field.
Oh, I agree completely. A lot of people here watching the show that don't know me as well personally, they know Yellow Chad and they know Wave.video, but that my personal brand and things that I do is the story catcher. And so I'm obviously a huge fan when it comes to the whole story process. And do you find it often, though, that people, when you bring that up, give you the old, well, I don't have any stories?
Oh, gosh, brother, I said that. Like, literally, like, I was down in Hollywood for the second tour. I call it a second tour. Like, I got pulled back down there again, right? And I came out of there. But before I left, I was saying this to someone, and they're like, Joey, are you kidding me? And I said, you know what? Why don't I just start blogging about what's happening for me on this path right now, the second tour in Hollywood. And as I was blogging through all this, you start realizing, Oh, yeah, of course, you have endless stories, right? As long as you're being mindful about how they are connecting. That is why this download 3 years ago made sense for me, because what they were just doing is they were just showing me a story memory, a story memory, a story memory of me being on my first red carpet. And it's like thinking, how are these stars like all these screaming fans? And they're just like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And they're just leaning in. And I remember thinking, I mean, I was young. I remember thinking, I was on the red carpet. I remember thinking, I just wanted to disappear. Right. And then the next memory downloaded. And I remember it was a memory of me at New York, the Four Seasons, and I was coming down the elevator with the director I was working with at the time, a major director, blockbuster director. And we were walking down the elevator, and I remember hearing a piano playing, and I remember thinking, oh, it's so beautiful. And as we're getting close to the piano, I recognized that it's one of the stars, one of our talent from the movie, who sat down. And by the way, I remember walking into the Four Seasons and seeing that piano going, oh, that's just a prop. It wasn't in the lounge. It was like literally in the hallway. You know how big the hallways are in the Four Seasons, right?
Sure.
They're huge, right? And I remember thinking to myself, did he ask permission to sit down at that prop? Is he playing a song? I didn't even know he was a piano player. And it turns out that he's actually a well-known jazz piano player as well. And as he's playing the piano, people that are in the lobby ready to check in and people in the bar area start hearing this music. They recognize it's a star playing. And so now he's surrounded by this audience and he's playing with so much ease and with so much grace. And this really made an impact on me. And then my boss is like, well, we have to go because there's like this event. And he's like, okay. And he closed the piano and he got up and he thanked everyone for taking the time out to allow him to play for them. These are these memories. And so how much love capacity do you have to sit down at any piano and play it? Then allow strangers to show up to support and celebrate you, right? And so there's these series of memories that I share in the book. And these stories are what impacted me, right? It's the stories. And I've
Absolutely.
been sharing them. I just hadn't paid attention to them until 3 years ago.
Yep. I see it all the time. I see it all the time. But when it came to your personal, the story that you were talking about that you're getting ready to release and share and put out there, Kate had asked a question, how long it took you to finally get the courage, or how did you get to the point where you got the courage to press the button or to say, I'm going to release this out into the world?
So after 3 years ago, I was encouraged through a series of dreams too, right, to bring this to the masses. I was still reluctant to bring it to the masses. So I said, you know what? Let me do this instead. Let me beta test it on me first. And if it works, then I'll do it. And so I started downloading the morning routine, the 30 minutes. And I did it 7 days a week. In the book, if you're level 1, I just say you only do 5, but I did 7. And everything that I had been hoping or dreaming or desiring in particular, right? I'm in my 50s and I wanted to get engaged and married again, right? So within 2 years, I'm at the love of my life, engaged, married. I absolutely know that this would not have been possible if it wasn't for me growing my capacity, my love capacity through the daily system, right? That a year before, I was sitting at a retreat and someone's bringing us through this visualization of the place you wanted to live. And I remember sitting in this visualization and I wanted a customized place. It was very customized for me, but I remember thinking, not again. I'm going to put this in the back burner because how many affirmations, how many vision boards, how many meditation have I done at this point? DNA reconstruction, you name it, I have done it. And yet certain dreams and desires just always felt so out of reach, right? Fast forward, I have had a place that has been customized just for me, including my studio for the live stream shows, right? So this is when I was been beta testing and and all of a sudden things were falling in, like the Grand Canyon, right? Because you're going to grow your capacity Grand Canyon level. So things were as they were falling in. That's when I said, okay. I said, I will come out with this book, right? And the book just dropped last month. But I beta tested it on me first. I had to be the walking billboard.
No, absolutely. I totally get that. I totally get that. That's brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. Joey, just tons of stuff here. Harry Jameson says dope info. I can't really, when I say dope info, it just doesn't come out right. I just like our son says that, like, that's dope. And I say it, I feel, I'm at the point now, I'm the old guy trying to use young lingo, and it shows. But I love that. And Karina, I see that you're commenting, asking about the stories and behind my hats. Maybe next week, maybe if it lends itself to what we're doing, maybe I'll open with the story about how the hats became a thing. Wow. So much good stuff. Joey, I'll tell you what, before we go and before we give away our prizes and announce the winners, we always like to do a little something fun with the guests, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to jump right into it then. This is a little game that we like to call This or That. It's very simple, and we want everyone who's here today to play along as well. Apparently, JS says I'm writing a book. It's actually a pamphlet. That might be about as far as I could get, possibly.
That's good. That's good. Good.
So, it's not true, but apparently now I've been called out. So, but play along with us, folks. This or that. We're going to throw two options up on the board. Joey, it's very simple. You just let us know which you were more likely to choose. We may follow up with questions if I just want to dig in, because there might be a story there. So our first one is ice cream cone or snow cone?
Ice cream cone.
Interesting. I think I'm a little bit of a case by case kind of guy. We have a really good snow cone place here not too far, and my wife and I, we do like to go get
It's really healthier, right? Snow healthier for us, right?
Are they? I mean, yes, it's ice, but it's a lot of sugar in that syrup.
Yummy.
So if you're making a choice between ice cream cone and snow cone, my guess is that health conscious is like the last thing you're probably concerned about at the moment. So JS Gilbert says that he is an ice cream guy. So,
all right.
Angel Ortiz says, Joey, sign my book, the one I win today. Apparently he thinks he's going to win. So
I will, absolutely, brother.
We will see. All right, next one. Amusement park or museum?
Museum.
Would you say you've always been that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a seeker. I love learning. I like all that. That's why I read a lot of books, right? So yeah, museum.
Yeah, I would probably go with you on that as well. I think I'm more of a museum person. By the way, Harry Jameson says McDonald's ice cream cone. He's being very specific in his choice.
Those are good, though. Those are good. He hit it on the nail with that one.
Museum seems to be the general consensus. I will say I'm not an amusement park person as far as like rides and whatnot, but I do love Disney. I do love Disney. Our son works there, and so we try to go often to see him. I like the experience of it, but I'm not a thrill ride guy. So Six Flags. So Angel is obviously an
amusement park.
But most everybody here is saying museum. All right. New clothes, new phone.
Oh, new clothes.
This one I'm curious to see how this comes out across the board. I almost want to say that there might be a gender gap.
You know what? I so dread getting new phones because of having to transfer everything over, and I'm what they call a quick start. So I don't like things to slow me down, right?
Mm.
So I say new clothes, and clothes just when are just make you feel. There's such an expression, right? And my probably new clothes and getting my hair done. Those are probably two of
Yeah,
the.
I don't know. My wife, we got some things for when we went to the last conference, and I used to do the suit thing, and we went to more of a vest with the lapel and the collar,
That's sweet.
and it's much cooler, that's for sure. And I will say, I liked it, and it feels good. But man,
Makes you feel good, and it reminds me of every Easter, my mom would go out and she'd bring in a whole new set of clothes for the spring.
Wow,
So there must be this emotional because also my love language is gifts and recognition. So I'm sure that's where the clothes thing comes into. And my mom was loving on me,
sure.
right, giving me all these gifts, and everything was crisp.
Oh, wow, love that. Love that. Karina's not making choices. Karina's answer was
Once
everything.
put- Yeah.
Yes, she's asking.
Good.
She's saying everything. So that's fine, Karina. Don't settle. All right, a
Yeah.
couple more here. Aliens, real or fake?
Well, I mean, I did work I mean, on Independence Day, right? I did work with Roland Emmerich, one of the biggest, right, blockbuster film directors. So I'm going to say aliens are real.
There you go. And she's got information to back up her claim.
And Stargate, I
I
mean, so.
Angel says they're real fake. I'm with you. I have a hard time believing that out of the size and expanse of everything that we're just the one thing that happened. So I agree. Let's see. Real seems to be the general consensus. Would you rather go without hot water or no room heat? Now let's just assume it's going to be cold. It's cold.
I'm going to say no room heat. I like ice and everything, so I'm surprised I didn't pick the ice cone. But I put ice in everything. I like everything to be super cool, and that's why the Bay Area works for me because it's
Ah,
nice and cold here.
gotcha. I think I would go with the no room heat as well. I can put on a coat, but you can't put on more clothes when you're going to take a shower. So I think I'm with you on that as well. As far as the aliens, by the way, Harry says they're real because he watched X-Files, and Kate says both. Sometimes real,
I
sometimes.
love X-Files.
That was a great show. My dad loved X-Files.
Oh, and Alien, that's actually one of my favorite movies of all time when I was very young. My dad every Sunday took us to the movies. It's because my dad worked all the time. He's a blue-collar worker. And Sundays, we go to the movies every Sunday rather than church. And I remember when the egg, that blew my mind. And I believe that's a big reason why I ended up in Hollywood, is because
Interesting.
my dad's passion for movies, right? That emotional connection we had together, my capacity was strong around that. And so I had an influencer in San Francisco that was like, I know people down there, and got me my first job.
Wow, it's funny the influences. It's one of the reasons I ended up on stage. I can trace it all the way back to one day at the dinner table when my dad picked up 3 apples and started juggling.
Oh,
And
isn't it interesting? It's so interesting how all this impacts our decision making and our capacity.
yeah, absolutely. All right, last one. Trained dog or comical cat?
Oh, okay. I'm going to say trained dog. My dad has 2 Shih Tzus, and none of them are trained.
Yeah, I think I'm impressed by the whole trained dog. And when somebody's taking the time out and they're smart enough, the dog's smart enough, versus the video of just a cat who happened to do some. One, I'm not a big cat fan either, but that's
My dad's dogs, well, my dad recently passed, but his dogs were like his everything. So he spoiled them. There was no training involved. They are cute though.
Oh yeah, ours are mama's dogs for sure. I was up early this morning getting ready for the show. They were just laying on the couch. They think they hear her get up and they're bolting to the back of the house.
Right?
Me, they don't even look up. They don't acknowledge that I rose to breathe another day. They could care less. So anyway, thank you so much. We just have a good time doing this. And one of the ways we like to say thank you, by the way, is people tend to have like an elevator pitch. Some like doing that, some don't. But we always like to give our guests just a short little moment to share them. So in a minute here, since we don't have an elevator, we're Wave.video, we have water. So we've built a Wave.video submarine that we're going to put you in. And as soon as the submarine begins to submerge, that's your time to start talking and saying anything you want, any links you want, any words of wisdom. It's your platform.
Okay.
And you have all the way until we come back up to the surface. So don't make the mistake most people do of stopping when we get to the bottom. It's your time all the way until we get to the top. Okay.
Okay. It's like Disneyland, like the submarine in Disneyland. Okay, cool.
It is like 20,000 leagues under the sea, but not. All right. Here we are in the submarine. Now, I will be right here in case you need me, in case there's an emergency. I just want you to feel alone. But any moment now, we will begin to submerge, and it will be your time. So, on your mark, get set. Here we go.
So you guys, you can catch me at joieg113.com. You can learn more about my products and services there. You can catch me at Joie Gharrity on LinkedIn. I also have a big Facebook group, which doubles as a spotlight. It's called the Superstar Women Entrepreneurs. I let men in as well. You can ask to join me over there. I also have a show called Being Your Own Superstar. You can catch that on Being Your Own Superstar Live on Facebook, and again on my website. You can catch that over on LinkedIn, and my books. You guys can catch them on Amazon: Red Carpet Guide to Visibility Influence and Being Your Own Superstar: How to Grow Your Love Capacity. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Beautiful, beautiful. People just love the submarine. I don't know why. It's just fun.
It's because, again, it's a memory. I swear, the Disney submarine memory.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't remember that? It was so
Absolutely.
much fun.
And guess what, folks? Guess where I made all of this? In Wave.video. All right, let's give away some prizes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have prizes to give away. So in third place today, walking away with our much, much coveted sticker pack with Yellow Chad. We want to see where you place Yellow Chad, by the way. Use the hashtag Yellow Chad. That's going to Bishop Donald Oliver. So there you go, Bishop Donald Oliver, whose live streams, by the way, are fantastic. I love tuning in to him on Sundays, and he does a game show during the week. Great guy. And the coffee mug is going to Angel Ortiz. So Angel, congratulations. You finally got one. You can stop sending me letters in the mail and asking. Okay, you got your mug. So we're super excited that you got that. And the grand prize winner. That's right, because there has to be a drum. The winner of your book is going to our super fan, and we love all the comments that you bring each week. J.S. Gilbert.
Cool.
So yeah, I know he'll enjoy reading that. So anyway, listen, hey, we just want to thank you again, Joey. I appreciate the stories, the insights, your heart, who you are. And being willing to share all that with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate it. I love you. 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 And I appreciate you.
Oh, well, it's right back at you. And thank you, Ross, for introducing us and connecting us as well. Folks, that does it for us today. We hope you had a great time. Thanks to all who participated. Congrats to the winners. Thanks again to Joey. Make sure that if you watch the replay, let us know. and we will do our best to make sure we get in and answer any questions that you leave on the different platforms. Follow us. We are Wave.video, and we will be here next week with Mark Schaefer, best-selling author, and a dear friend who's going to be bringing, I promise you don't want to miss Mark Schaefer. He is going to bring some stuff that you're going to, it'll change your life. He's a great guy. So we'll see you next Wednesday, noon Eastern, as we all learn together how to live better.